Thank you, Dave.
All right, thank you, Bob. Yeah, it's been my privilege to be the Young Eagles coordinator since 2002. And Young Eagles is now 25 years old this year. You may see some paraphernalia around that has a 25 on it. In fact, you're going to see some here very shortly. But 25 years of Young Eagles. And I was talking to Pat Gallahue, the guy who was previous to me. And Pat, where are you? Is he here? Yeah, stand up and say hi, Pat. Pat did the Young Eagles from its inception up until inception in the chapter. How's that? Stu was. I didn't know that. Stand up, Stu. There's Stu Moment. All right. Great. Okay, so good. So Young Eagles, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a program of flying youth between the ages of, between the ages of 8 to 17. 8 to 17. So if you're at least 8 years old, give or take a little bit, we don't check birth certificates, up to 17. If you're growing a beard, we're probably not going to take you. But anyway, we're flexible with that, and we love to help kids and introduce them to flying, and that's the whole purpose. The aviation community has been dwindling over the last 10, 15, even 20 years, and so the EAA has made huge strides to encourage young people to get involved in aviation. At this point in time, over 2 million kids have been flown. 2 million, and still going. So we're excited about that. Our chapter has a part in that. As Bob mentioned, we've flown quite a few this year, and I was working with Pat the other day, and we figured maybe our chapter has done somewhere in excess of 800 Young Eagles to that program. So we're really proud of and happy to be a part of that. At this point, I'd like to recognize some of our Young Eagle people. And the first, I'm going to introduce both the pilots and the ground crew separately. But the pilots first, let me explain to you what the pilot does. The pilot supplies an airplane and gas. We're not allowed to reimburse them for gas due to FAA regulations, but they supply an airplane. Some people even rent an airplane so they can fly Young Eagles. We have both lady pilots and we have guy pilots. And they get recognized by the EAA with various badges and hats and certificates and so forth. But I would like to recognize them today for the, I guess sacrifice is not the right word, but maybe generosity is a better word for what they do for young people to supply the fuel in the airplane. For those of you who don't know, airplane gas ranges in the range of $5 a gallon. So it ain't cheap. It's free, but it ain't cheap. And so we're really proud of them. So pilots, if you have done a Young Eagle pilot ride, just one, please stand up and let us see who you are. Anybody who's done a pilot who's done a Young Eagle pilot's ride? Great. I see people from other chapters. Good. Thanks, guys. And I'd like to recognize the ground crew because, as Bob mentioned, the pilots fly, but somebody's got to organize the chaos. And believe me, when you're flying 50 to 80 young people and they're there with their parents, there's a lot to keep organized in terms of little people. Where's Rachel? Is Rachel in the room? Come up, Rachel. I'm going to ask Rachel to come up here because Rachel has really taken over the job for us of organizing the ground crew. And it involves anywhere from 8 to 12 people to make this happen. In terms of, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of liability releases to sign, there's a lot of organizing who goes on what airplane, and little Johnny says, oh, I have to fly with Bobby, you know, I can't go if I don't go with Bobby. And so there's all that sort of stuff going on. And Rachel's done a great job in organizing all that, so please give her a hand.
Okay. Well, I couldn't have done it without the excellent teaching that I've had from Mr. Boyd here, who is my instructor. And what do I have, about 33 hours now? So, and I won't tell you all the details because my mom doesn't want to know and she's here, so. But it's been great working with Young Eagles, and I hope that when I get my private license, I will change over from ground crew to the pilot side of it, and then I'll get to know both sides. So I appreciate the opportunity, and it's been a lot of fun, and I hope to continue many years ahead. Thanks.
So thank you, Rachel. She's just done an amazing job. Our last rally we did about, well, it's 2 weeks ago. But it was the first time that I can remember personally there were no paperwork errors, not one. And so thanks to Rachel for that. Okay, ground crew. What the EAA realizes at this point in time is that we've done all these flights and all these pilots are getting recognized, but it does take, like I said, 8 to 12 people to make it all happen on the ground. And so what I'd like to do is recognize you if you have been participating or participated in any one of our events as a ground crew member, whether you were loading airplanes and keeping people safe on the ramp, whether you were welcoming people at the door, whether you were processing registrations and make sure they all flowed well. If you did any of that, please stand up. Let us recognize you. Ground crew people. There should be about 3 times as many ground crew people as there were pilots. Great. Okay, remain standing for just a minute. Remain standing for just a minute. I should have done this with the pilots too, but I'm going to do it with the ground crew. I'm guessing, estimating, that we've done maybe 15 events since I've been around. Okay, maybe 15, a lot more in the last couple of years since Bob encouraged us to go 4 a year. But what I'd like to do is say this. If you have done 2 or more Young Eagle events, remain standing. 2 or more, remain standing. If not, good. How about 5 or more? If you have been a Ground Eagle coordinator helper for at least 5 events or more, great. Okay, how about 7? If you've done 7 or more. We're narrowing the field here. If I go to 10, what does that do? Anybody done more than 10? Well, Pat, you stand up. How many have you done, Pat? Okay. Anybody who has no idea, remain standing. Anyway, we'd just like to thank the ground crew. Before I go, because the FAA passes out badges and hats and buttons and whatever, we have got for our ground crew T-shirts. And I take the time now to pass out the T-shirts, but I want to go by size and it would take too long. So when we're done today, please come see either Bob or I and come get your T-shirt. And it says 25 years of Young Eagles. And has our, I think it has, it's got our chapter on the sleeve. So thank you, ground crew, for all you've done. Please don't forget to get your shirt. And just in conclusion, I want to say thank you for all the participants. And I really feel proud to know that we have introduced so many young people to aviation and a lot more to go. So thanks very much. It's been great.